social media is good for students. I'm not against social media, but you should have discipline there.
Can you just quickly talk more about the Anvikshiki? What is Anvikshiki?
The first thing entrepreneurs say is that I have an idea. But idea is not success. You need to go through the process. And that process is Anvikshiki. A lot of institutions in our country, I find the only discussion is package.
Narsee Monjee College of Commerce and Economics presents Arithmós. Arithmós is a flagship program of leadership, management and strategy, and they are presenting Arithmótalks. Today, we have very special guest with us. A guest who has devoted his life to bring back India's ancient knowledge into the modern day. A person who has written more than 24 books on one specific topic called as Chanakya. So today we have a modern day Chanakya, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, who is a teacher, who is a strategist, who is a business consultant as well. Sir, welcome to the show, Arithmós.
Thank you so much, Jay sir. You're also a teacher. It's an honor to be with you on this show.
Yeah. Sir, just wanted to know how you have come up with an idea of Chanakya and why Chanakya?
So Jay sir, simple. It is God's grace. I never planned to maybe devote my life to Chanakya. Maybe Chanakya decided I should devote my life to him. So logically speaking, many years ago, like most of the young generation, for me studies was equivalent to making some money, getting some good job.
Correct.
I did my MBA. And of course, as a marketing person, I worked in a lot of industries, right? From the cricket industry, the music industry, film industry, jewelry. Wow. It's all glamorous industries.
Wow.
But unfortunately, or I would say fortunately, the last company that I worked, which was into cricket, it was into sports management.
Okay.
And the founder, unfortunately, died. And then I had to look out for another job. But my spiritual guru, Swami Tejo Manaji from Chinmaya Mission, he said, youngsters should not think about getting jobs, they should think about creating jobs. So that's where my entrepreneurial journey started.
Oh.
And this is not today's startup culture, it is almost 25 years ago.
Wow.
I started my first company called Arithmótalks, which is into spiritual tourism. And so happened that because I had a MBA management background, interestingly, my whole concepts were all about, Western principles.
Right.
Nothing wrong in that, we should learn from the West also. But somewhere, because I had a spiritual background and also my father was a great writer, thinker, he said, India also has got traditional wisdom which can be applied into modern management.
Correct.
That's where I came across Arthashastra.
Okay.
I studied it. Of course, I did my PhD in that subject, etc., etc. And since then, there is no stopping.
Correct. But sir, a specific question. Is ancient text is relevant in modern day?
So I would again, I would say reuse the word more than ancient. I would say it is eternal wisdom.
Wow. Right.
Ancient when you say, okay, as you say in Hindi, Purane Zamane mein.
Correct.
And does it work? But I'll tell you, if you study any field, they come to what is called natural laws. So Chanakya is about natural laws. For example, should we say that, sun rising in the east is an ancient wisdom? It rises today also and it will rise tomorrow also.
Correct.
Of course, you go and say the world is going around the sun. But the reality is that we can't call it ancient after a point. So Chanakya's principle is based on certain eternal principles that don't change with time.
Okay.
So our rishis, our great teachers of the past in India, actually studied ancient principles of leadership, management, economics.
Correct.
And if we study that, we can actually get a lot of insights for the present as well as future.
Right. Sir, can you talk more about Chanakya? Who was he? Why he is relevant? Why he is famous? I mean, I believe he used to live in 4th century BC, but still today we are talking about Chanakya, and every time, the news media after election, very famously they come out with the Chanakya's poll, and and some of the people are considered as modern day Chanakya. But why he is very famous in present day as well?
So let me tell you the first part of your question. Who was Chanakya? So you are a teacher of Chanakya. I don't have to teach you. So he is a historical person who lived in the 4th century BC.
Correct.
And of course, he was known by 3 names: Vishnugupta, Kautilya, Chanakya.
Right.
He was responsible for creating Chandragupta Maurya as an emperor of India, defeated Alexander, and a lot of things he did. He was also responsible for training the grandson of Chandragupta Maurya, which is Ashok. And he wrote, many books, including Arthashastra and Chanakya Neeti, Chanakya Praniti Sutras. You teach all that.
Right.
So all these are historical facts. But the second part of your question, why is he relevant today? The reason is that if you study, you come to know two things. What is called spirituality.
Right.
And also what is called, worldly and material science. And that's a very interesting combination. Because a lot of people think India is only a spiritual country.
Correct.
But that's only partly true. India, of course, is a spiritual country. India's foundation is spirituality.
Okay.
But to say that, India is only a spiritual country, we have to understand more deeper. India was also the richest country in the world.
Right.
Economically richer.
Yeah.
Bharat Soni ki chidiya.
Chidiya thi. Correct.
So this fine balance of spirituality and material science, I like in Chanakya.
Wow.
That interested me.
Right. Right. So, sir, basically, Chanakya, there are two ways of looking Chanakya. Some people look Chanakya as a spiritual guru. Some people look Chanakya as a kingmaker or strategist or master strategist. And some people is, for them Chanakya is Kutanitigya. So how do you look at Chanakya as a person or as a personality?
So I look at Chanakya from various dimensions. All these are right, but since I've been trying to understand, every time I look at a new dimension.
Correct.
In the Arthashastra itself, you have certain 180 topics. So one is leadership, management, strategy, political science. All this is fine, but sometimes I wonder, he was also an architect. He designed forts.
Okay.
He was an engineer.
Wow.
He was a person who also specialized in governance.
Correct.
He was also an alchemist.
Oh.
He was also a person who was specializing in chemistry, metallurgy.
Wow. So many dimensions.
So many dimensions. So I wonder, very few people in the history of not only India, but history of the world, you'll have a person like Chanakya who was a polymath. Polymath is a person who is specializing in multiple disciplinaries.
Right.
So he's a multidisciplinary. So I like Chanakya's various facets, including political science, because many people say Rajniti, Kutanithi.
Correct.
But I think that's only one dimension. There are many undiscovered dimensions of Chanakya. Therefore, I like him.
Yeah, very true. So coming back to your books, so you have written more than 24 books, right? And 4 books, I believe it is in the process and may come soon. So, sir, on one topic of Chanakya and so many books, how did you came up with that particular thinking of writing different dimension of books on different topics using one subject?
So as we discussed, there are so many dimensions of Chanakya.
Correct.
And initially when I started studying Chanakya, generally Chanakya was known for a few fields. For example, economics.
Correct.
So most of us study about economics from the standpoint of Adam Smith. I'm sure a lot of students were economic students here, management students. I have known about him. The wealth of nations. So wealth of nations is the contribution by Adam Smith. But the father of Indian economics is Chanakya.
Wow. Right.
So the father of modern economics can be Adam Smith, but the father of Indian economics is Chanakya. So I thought, let us think about Chanakya as an economist. I wrote a book called Chanakya and the Art of Getting Rich.
Right.
Then I looked at Chanakya from the standpoint of being a mentor to a businessman.
Correct.
Or a startup company. That's where my book came in, Corporate Chanakya.
Wow.
Then I started thinking, okay, why can't we write a story about Chanakya for the youth? Young boys and girls who are in colleges who are not yet started, working in their real life business, profession, career.
Correct.
And that's why the book came in Chanakya in You.
Wow.
Then I started thinking if I can write for corporates, I can write for bureaucrats. I wrote a book for bureaucrats called Chanakya 7 Secrets of Leadership.
Right.
It's a co-authored book with D. Shivanandan sir, who was the Director General of Police of Maharashtra, IPS officer. Then I started thinking, okay, ye sab ho gaya.
Correct.
Why can't we reach the next generation in school?
Wow.
So we created a character called Chatur Chanakya.
Oh.
So for me, every time I look at Chanakya, say, oh, one more dimension. So written 24 books. I'm writing more books. In fact, one of the books that I'm writing, it's called Chanakya for the Millennials.
Oh, that will be applicable for the next generation.
Absolutely. So
Wow.
I keep thinking creatively and I get new ideas to write on Chanakya.
So one specific book which you have written on Chanakya in classroom, which is very much relevant from the age group of 8 to it is applicable to to 64, 74, 84 as well. So can you talk more about how that book, Chanakya in classroom, is relevant to today's youth?
So the title itself is something very interesting, which of course I give the credit to my publishers. Chanakya in the classroom. Now, very interestingly, you also spoke about it. Classroom has got two aspects, students and teachers.
Right.
So this book is for students, and interestingly, this book is also for teachers.
Okay.
So how did this idea come in? So unfortunately, our education system has become an examination system. So what is happening is that people actually prepare for exams. And today in India, we see, they're all going behind competitive exams.
Correct.
And which is also leading to a lot of stress. The number of suicides are growing up. And, I'm not against exams. The idea is that is education only exams?
Right.
So, can we learn something more beyond exams?
Right.
Otherwise, what will happen, there's a joke which says that before the exam, I was wise. After the exams, I'm wise. So, I remember everything before and after. But during exam, I'm otherwise. So, we need to go beyond memorizing answers to actually understand life.
Correct.
So, in this book, I have written this whole idea about how you should be a thinker as a student.
Okay.
So, I wrote a lot of topics which are very, very, I would say, deep topics like Anvikshiki. So, how does a student actually become a thinker in the classroom?
Right.
How does a teacher become a great teacher?
Wow.
And I can give so many examples of students coming to me and telling me, thank you, sir. Thank you for what? I read this book, Chanakya in the classroom, and changed my life. I remember I was in Pune. I think it was Symbiosis University.
Correct.
Or Management College. This boy is from Kerala. And because I also have origins in Kerala.
Yes.
He came and said, sir, I want to tell you something. I was okay. Till 10th standard, I was almost a student who passed the exam. So I was not a great topper. I never failed, but it was only dragging. Chalo, pass okay. But I had to actually study further.
Okay.
But I didn't know how. So I was an average student, but I was never a topper.
Okay.
So then he told me that I got this book from I think his parents or uncle or something. I read, and one of the chapters which I liked the most was how to prepare your own timetable.
Oh, okay.
So usually the timetable is prepared by the teachers, the school or the college or the university. But now I can prepare my own timetable. So it is not about studying. You should also have time for relaxing, for sports.
Correct.
In fact, I also say watching social media is good for students. So I'm not against social media, but you should have discipline there.
Exactly. Correct.
And this boy topped the class using those principles.
Wow.
And said today, I'm doing so well because of that book. I never knew this person. So coming back to the point, everybody in the classroom, the teacher should also know how to teach.
Right.
And the students should know how to learn. Exams will be a byproduct, don't worry, you pass the exams.
Correct.
But we have got so much wisdom about how to have knowledge in our lives. Otherwise, we get degrees, we get some jobs. That's not education.
Yes.
Also, this very important point in the book, it teaches you values of life.
Wow, that is very important.
Very important.
So, sir, one thing you mentioned about Anvikshiki and how it should be applied. But first, I'm sure you have spoken a lot about the Anvikshiki. We all know it's a science of thinking and different dimension of Anvikshiki. But many of our students might not have heard about this particular word. For them, it will be a completely new word. So can you just quickly talk more about the Anvikshiki? What is Anvikshiki? And majorly, as a student, if I want to apply, because I know it is an application based model, it's not just an ancient model which is coming one word which was given in one of the book. No, it is not. It's an application based model, and you are teaching Anvikshiki from the application point of view. But if as a student I want to apply Anvikshiki in my personal life, in my professional life, and suppose I want to become, after my completion of my course, I want to become an entrepreneur, how I can apply Anvikshiki? So first, what is Anvikshiki and how it can be applied?
You are having a startup company,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or a startup project,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. The first thing entrepreneurs say is that I have an idea. But idea is not success.
Correct.
So you need to go to the process, and that process is Anvikshiki.
Okay.
Think deeply. For example, somebody likes Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So Airbnb is a great model, successful across the world.
Right.
And a Ola or a Uber.
Hmm.
So I have an idea. Okay, he's already proven the idea, but it may not be sure that you can also be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So idea is the starting point of a great, business idea.
Right.
But that idea has to be refined.
Hmm.
So if you understand Anvikshiki, the first thing that you do is that from idea, you start with the research.
Okay.
And research is not just Google search. A lot of people gather information.
Correct.
That's the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
So Anvikshiki says gather information.
Correct.
So it's number crunching.
Okay.
Sankhya Yoga Lokayat.
Right.
So how many players in the industry? How can I make a differentiation? So you think, you do a lot of research.
Hmm.
Then you make a plan.
Hmm.
So research is information and analytics. You make a plan. So okay. Then if you want any investor, you have to understand that. Then you have to do market survey, a lot of things. And then you make a perfect plan. And if you don't do these steps, even if you have money, you may fail.
Right. So sir, we have, our majority of students, they come up and always say, sir, mere paas ye idea hai, I have this idea. And later on they, it's just stick to the ideation stage only, because they never document it. Okay. So, Anvikshiki also helps. So, it starts with the documentation, and then we can strategize using Sankhya Yoga and Lokayata.
Yes.
But sir, I have heard this as a philosophy, but not as a practical applicability. What is the difference between philosophy and practical applicability of these three words?
Philosophy should be the starting point. So every organization, every nation, every startup should have a philosophy.
Correct.
People call it values. People call it vision, mission. All this is fine. So what's your philosophy? For example, why do I do all these things? So my philosophy is very clear. I'm doing this for nation building.
Wow.
Somebody will be doing it for wealth creation.
Correct.
Somebody may be doing it for power and politics.
Hmm.
That's okay. But what's your philosophy of life?
Right.
So if you have a philosophical understanding, मैं ये क्यों कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ, and you're clear.
Okay.
And then you actually make a roadmap through that philosophy.
So can I put it in that way? If I am very clear in my mind that I wanted to do, I have this idea, this thing I can do, okay? And in my mind, philosophically, I am very clear that my end goal has to be there. And one of the books which you have written, it also says, when you start something, create an end in your mind and then walk towards it, right? So how it works basically?
So in fact, this is a very famous book in my generation at least. It is called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah,
Stephen Covey.
Stephen Covey, yeah.
So he has actually, researched. He was a teacher also, a researcher also.
Correct.
He was an Anvikshiki himself. And he actually brought out 7 principles of successful people.
Okay.
And one of the principles is begin with the end in the mind.
Oh, okay.
So for example, I want to go for a picnic. Great. That's a philosophy. You have to enjoy it. But then you have to make a roadmap. A lot of people are not clear. So if you have the end in the mind, you can plan the roadmap, the strategy. So I have to go from here to point A to point B. How to go? Maybe you will go with a bicycle, or you walk, you take a train, bus, plane, whatever. So coming to the point that if you are not clear about the end, you will get confused. So when you are playing a cricket match, the end should be very clear. World Cup jeetna hai. I mean, of course, you have to go into the detail, who is the player, all those things. But many people, I would say most of the people, are not even clear why they are doing this.
Okay.
Why are you working?
Right,
The simple
right.
answer will be for money.
Correct.
ठीक है, I mean, that's okay, but there's no philosophical base. Is money the objective? Lot of people actually make lot of money, yet they're
Right.
unhappy.
True.
Then they talk about philanthropy.
Correct.
I say if you're clear about your philosophy, philanthropy is a byproduct.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll give another example. This clarity of beginning with the end in the mind should be used in every stage of life.
Okay.
For example, this is a joke. One person went to a ticket counter of a railway station and said, "मुझे ticket दो."
Correct.
Give me a ticket. The person at the counter asks him, "Where do you want to go?" बोलता है, "I don't know." He gives him a ticket and say, now you can go to any train anywhere. So person is not clear कहाँ जाना है, क्यों जाना है. Will definitely go somewhere without knowing where.
So Chanakya is known as creating more and more leaders, right? So in our today's generation, the mentality is very clear. When I speak with the students, I teach to the students about the leadership, but their mentality is very clear. मुझे graduation करना है, then I'll go to the post graduation. Maybe I'll do it from India or out of India, and then I'll landed in very good job. That is my goal, and I'll earn very good money. That is something which is very clear. But majorly I've never seen any students coming and stating that I want to become a leader, or I want to create a job, or I want to. So how I can using Chanakya's wisdom, how we can change the mindset of the students becoming seeking for a job to become creator of a job and create a new leader for the next generation.
Thank you, Jay sir. You are a teacher. You have the opportunity. See, there's one thing called an ecosystem.
Correct.
The environment. And especially if you see in India, it's a herd mentality.
Right.
Everybody is looking out for a job. Everybody does a job. Everybody wants to become a graduate. Everybody becomes a graduate. Okay, let us start investing. Everybody is investing. Nothing wrong in that, but leaders think differently. But leaders have to be trained by teachers to think differently.
Wow. Right.
So if the teacher is not guiding them, or the herd mentality, unfortunately, children don't even listen to the parents. Fortunately, they listen to teachers.
Right. Very true.
So what happens in a classroom cannot happen at a house. Okay, then what mother and father tells doesn't make any difference to them. The same thing told by a teacher makes a big difference.
True.
So how do you create leaders and entrepreneurs? So Jay sir, my request to you is that speak more about them.
Right.
They may not believe it because in the discussions among students, they only talk about, maybe how to get a job, which I find in some of the most premium institutions in India.
Right.
When I go to IIMs, IITs, a lot of institutions in our country, I find the only discussion is package.
Correct.
And I find very sad that this best of the institutions in India, the brains of a country, are actually committing suicide. Every
That
day
is very
you listen,
sad.
Very sad. And say, why? Because for them, he got 50 lakhs per annum. I only got 49 lakh rupees per annum. The thing is that it's not about about looking out for a job. Nothing wrong. Please understand and respect people who actually go and work sincerely, and it's good that you work. But the thing is that is your objective of work only money? Can't you actually think like a leader in the job that you're doing? Second, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to be a wealth creator.
Okay.
But you have to guide them. You have to think like a leader. Every businessman or businesswoman is a leader, but they don't have training. So start with small steps.
Correct.
Classroom में बात करो, फिर guide करो.
Right.
So in the classroom you inspire them, and outside the classroom you guide them.
Oh, very nice. Very rightly said, sir. And sir, in the era of startup and that ecosystem, many of the students, want to become, start their own business or something. They might have some brilliant idea, but no support, right? Or some of the students, they have huge amount of support, but no idea or nothing. how you can guide to those students, many of the students mentality which I have seen that I will create some new business and then I will sell off that particular business to one of the company by earning huge amount of money. So that money mindedness, okay, the students are becoming money minded but not money conscious. So what is the difference between money minded and money conscious, and I mean whether that thinking is right or wrong?
So I think these are baby steps.
Hmm.
Everybody requires money.
True.
Nothing wrong in that.
Yes.
But you know what? There is something called as law of diminishing value. His aspiration would be 100 rupees.
Correct.
The person who's a big businessman, his aspiration would be 100 crores.
Hmm.
So everybody talks about money, and the basic money is required.
Right.
And in a developing country, most of the developing countries, we say money is a requirement.
True.
But what is happening is that after that basic necessity is fulfilled, then what do you do with all the extra money? So कहते हैं ना कितना रोटी खाओगे, मतलब कितना पैसा कमाओगे? It becomes a very sad state where you don't think beyond money. So that's where you require to guide them. So entrepreneurs should not just make money; they should be wealth creators.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't understand the difference between money making and wealth creation.
Okay.
So let me put it in a very simple way. I don't want to talk very academic. There are a lot of academic students also. But the difference is that money making is more about the cash part of it, your stock valuation. That's one. But wealth creation is much more than money creation. For example, how many jobs did you create? How much taxes did you pay? I feel very sad, especially people are evading taxes.
Yes.
So my father used to always tell me, he was my first guru, saying that it's a duty of every citizen, including me, to pay taxes.
Wow.
So paying taxes is actually nation building.
True. Very true.
And we get into that mindset, यार tax नहीं देना है. I mean, I always say this joke. गांधी जी ने कहा था tax मत देना to Britishers. So if you look at the very famous Dandi March, Salt Satyagraha, it was to another governing country which was ruling us.
Correct.
They are gone, but why do you have that mindset?
Right.
Why can't we pay taxes honestly? And let me tell you, that's a part of a mindset called as wealth creation. I give salaries to my employees.
Correct.
I actually give taxes to my government, and that should be your aim. Okay. Not only mera kitna turnover bada. In fact, if you look at balance sheet, there are two parts, and everybody who is in finance field will know the basics.
Correct.
Income and expenditure.
Correct.
Lot of people only focus on income, which is also important because that guarantees the cash flow, the income, the revenue. But what about expenses? In fact, that's very important. Only a wealth creator can spend money. But nobody looks at the second part. I remember one very senior mentor. When I started my own business, he told me, "Kharcha badao." I was what? I was yeah. If you have expenses, you will make more money. I remember very recently, I was reading in, I think, Economic Times or Mint. I think both in news. I read both the papers. I read around 5 papers every day.
Oh.
So in one of the papers, our current chairman of Tata Group, Chandrasekhar, he announced formally that I want to create almost 50,000 jobs. I was like, is he mad? 50,000 jobs. And remember, after Ratan Tata, he's the leader of the Tata Group.
Right.
Then I started Army Chief. Is it just a statement? No, he did it.
Okay.
Many people don't know that Chandrasekhar was heading TCS.
Right.
And TCS is not just an IT company. It is the world's largest IT company with more than 6 lakh employees.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is, Tata Group has got 8 lakh employees. The whole Tata Group, Tata Motors, Tata Steel. But one company which was led by Chandrasekhar has got 6 lakh employees. So he knows what is employment.
Wow.
Wealth creation. Now when he goes and says, I want to create 50,000, abhi to kam soch raha hai. If you could create 6 lakh, why are you only looking at 50,000 jobs?
Right.
Now that's wealth creation. Does he get money? Of course.
Yeah.
Does Tata get money? Of course. Their share valuations are going up.
Correct.
But then this is not just about money. It's not about how much did I get in my pocket. How much did the nation build? So today the most respected company in the world, not just India, is Tata, because they think And a lot of people say, why is Tata ambitious? In every field, be it watches, be it fashion, be it jewelry,
Correct.
be it IT. Think about a field in which Tata is not there.
Wow.
So it's nation building, and therefore I like the philosophy of Tata that it's not about making money and selling off a company. Of course, if the money is not
Right.
being made, they are very clear. They can even shut down Nano.
Yes, true.
So
Right.
they don't have to be stupid that keep running a loss-making company. But at the same time, they're also having the other side. Okay, there's wealth creation, there's tax. How much contribution that they do?
Wow.
In fact, in one of my books, Corporate Chanakya, I've written this. Most of the multinational companies actually run the country.
Wow. Yes.
So Tata literally
Correct,
runs the
correct.
country by giving so many jobs, so much taxes to the government, and that's the respect you get. If you want to be greedy, then I'm not in that game. But if you want to be ambitious and wealth creator, then
okay.
I'm in the game with you.
Wow. So it might be a takeaway for the students, don't become money minded and don't become greedy while creating your own company. Create a wealth and create a legacy which, you can pass it on to the next generation, which, company like Tata or TCS. Sir, I remember TCS being the youngest company in the entire Tata group, and now contributing the largest in terms of the employment, in terms of the creating more and more wealth. Because I remember TCS sponsoring a marathon for New York, which is one of the flagship event in the world, sponsoring New York marathon, which is a big thing, and it was sponsored by one of the Indian company. Create huge difference. And now they back to Mumbai marathon as well, after of course completion of the 10-year cycle of the Standard Chartered. Now it was again sponsored by Tata. So it is, created kind of wealth for the nation. It is commendable. And now with the vision of course the Tata group, the entire history, it creating a different level altogether. But sir, I remember one of the interviews I was watching of Mukesh Ambani. He's chairman of the entire Reliance group. Basically, he was making very small statement कि आपको क्या लगता है कि मुकेश अंबानी सोने की रोटी खाता है? वो भी तो घर आके रोटी और सब्जी खाता है, दाल और रोटी ही खाता है. So in spite of having so much wealth, he's very grounded with respect to when it comes to respecting their traditions, respecting their teachers. So this can be a takeaway for the students as well.
Absolutely. In fact, I work with a lot of Indian multinational companies.
Wow.
You spoke about Reliance, Aditya Birla Group.
Correct.
If you look at Tata, of course, you look at Mahindra's. So they are very grounded people. And I have a lot of respect for them, because for them they have reached the pinnacle of money.
Right.
But this aspect that you respect teachers. I'll give an example of two of the very famous, 2 or 3 of them which I closely work with. How many of us know that the Tata Group is also sponsoring education? For example, Ratan Tata personally gave 500 crores to IIT Bombay for research.
Wow.
Ratan Tata and Anand Mahindra bought Harvard to India.
Oh.
They have a classroom in Bombay, in Taj Hotel in Bandra.
I didn't know this.
Many people don't know this.
Correct.
Because Anand Mahindra was passed out from there, and he went to Ratan Tata and said, we should create Harvard in India.
Wow.
And Ratan Tata said, okay, education, okay, take it.
Yes.
Aditya Birla Group sponsors people to go abroad. They have their own education institution.
Yes.
So if you look at the Adanis, they have their universities.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is that this is India. And specifically since you spoke about Mukesh Ambani, I'll tell you a story. My students should know. In fact, if you look at the education-wise, Mukesh Ambani, he's from UD City.
Correct.
Now it is called ICT, Institute of Chemical Technology. So when he got admission, by the way, he's a very good student. So he was not just, business family, so I should not study, no. So Dhirubhai Ambani had told Mukesh that even before you come to my business, make sure you study well.
Right.
So when he got admission to then UD City, there was this great professor who is still advising Mukesh Ambani.
Wow.
M.M. Sharma.
Right.
You should please Google about him. M.M. Sharma is a Padma Vibhushan. He's a great teacher. And Mukesh Ambani studied under him. And Dhirubhai Ambani told M.M. Sharma ji, mere bete ko padhao. After he passed out, do you know M.M. Sharma is actually the advisor of Mukesh Ambani even today.
Wow.
So the growth of Reliance is actually because of a teacher.
Hmm.
And I'll say something internally. How much money does Mukesh Ambani give M.M. Sharma? Blank check. Yeah, because that's the respect. You can't value the advice of a teacher.
Wow.
So real businessmen value education
Hmm.
as a student.
Hmm.
Kumar Bangam Pillai is a chartered accountant.
Correct.
He studied in London School of Economics.
Right.
Of course, he comes from a very popular Marwadi community, which is a business community.
Hmm.
Yet, he respects teachers.
Wow.
So, if you become a successful entrepreneur, or if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, respect teachers.
Right. So, sir, how important is an advisor from my students? Even I have so many teachers. I am studying in graduation, then I'll go to the post graduation. I have so many teachers. Sir, one thing, how can I select a good advisor, number one, or good teacher? And secondly, how important that I should have in my future life, in connect with the advisor. How should I do that?
So, this is a very famous Chanakya statement. A king is as strong or weak as his advisors.
Wow.
So if you're a good advisor, you can become very
Correct.
strong, powerful. If you're a weak advisor, you'll become weak. So advisors can make you or break you.
Wow.
So king is equivalent to the advisors he has. So of course, Chanakya was the advisor for Chandragupta Maurya.
Correct.
And this legacy has been there in our country for many centuries, even today. If you look at the Mantri Parishad,
Right.
so the Council of Ministers,
Correct.
they are advisors to a king.
Right.
And he has to choose them very carefully. Very carefully, because a wrong advice can destroy you.
Right.
A good advice can take you to the next level.
Correct.
How do you choose? So you said about teacher. There are many teachers.
Correct.
As KG teacher who taught me the basics of ABCD.
Right.
Kakhaga is also important.
Right.
And when a teacher who guides me in my PhD is also important.
Hmm.
You will find many teachers in your journey, life
Correct.
journey. But what has happened that there are some teachers with whom you connect. So you have to see whom are you connecting with.
Correct.
For example, two of my favorite teachers, academic teachers. One was Dr. Gangadhar Nair,
Correct.
who taught me the Arthashastra, and Dr. Shubhada Joshi.
Right.
She taught me, and she was my PhD guide. She taught me philosophy. Now, for whenever I have any problem academically or philosophically or Arthashastra, I go to them. But you have to run a business. They may not be my advisors. They can guide me morally.
Correct.
Galat mat karna.
Right. Right.
But for business, I require a businessman who is successful. There
Very
are
true.
many advisors
Very
who are actually successful multi-billionaires. पैसा कैसे बनाना है, philosophy इनसे सीखो, but कैसे share market चलता है उनसे सीखो. So you can have multiple advisors depending on what's your advice required for.
Right.
So if you want to invest in stock, share market, capital market, I don't think I should go to a chemistry teacher. The idea is that if I have a chemistry problem, I go to a chemistry teacher.
Correct.
If I have a finance problem, I go to a finance advisor. So we need to understand what's your field of question and who is the expert in that field. So I think you should have multiple advisors. Suppose there's a family conflict, you should go to a family advisor.
Right.
For example, if my computer is not working, if my laptop is not working, I can't go to a history teacher or you are a teacher, advise me. He may give me some tips, but I may actually go to a person who is an expert in repairing a laptop.
Correct.
So know your question, know your advisor.
Wow. And sir, generally, so I come from the Gujarati family, and majority of the Gujarati Marwadi Jain community, they have advisor in home. It not be their parent, but their grandparents, and they are very close with them, right? So advising starts from the home. It's just we have to, look at that particular thing, and then how we can go ahead towards. So yeah, very true. I mean, for the students, if you get the right advisors at very early stage of your life, it will make your career life at the personal level and career at the professional level at different level altogether. Sir, coming back, Chanakya is known as a leadership guru, right? He has written Kautilya Arthashastra, which is known as a leadership manual. I mean, step-by-step guidance for a leader or those who want to become a leader. Yeah. So can you talk more about the leadership angle from the Kautilya's Arthashastra or Chanakya Neeti and present day application based?
So you want to know this answer? Follow Jay sir. He's a teacher of Arthashastra. Because in this limited time, I will tell the audience about 3 stages of leadership which Chanakya speaks about.
Right.
So details you should explain later.
Of course.
What are 3 stages of leadership? First is before you become a leader. After you become a leader.
Correct.
And then when you exit leadership.
So why exit leadership?
First, I don't know what is leadership. I don't know what is business.
Right.
So Chanakya prepares Chandragupta before he actually sits on the throne.
Right. Right.
So there's a way of teaching potential leaders. And then what happens? You become a leader. You got the chair. You become a captain of a team or all. You still require a coach.
Correct.
Even the best performing captain requires a coach. Even in the Indian cricket team, you have a coach, right?
Yes. Yes.
So even if you're a leader, you have different problems. You require strategy. That time you require a leader.
Correct.
Who is guided by a coach or a mentor. Third stage, and very important stage, which we don't find a lot of people understanding this. You should let go the position of leadership.
Wow.
A leader is not the one who actually has many followers. A leader is the one who creates more leaders.
Right.
If a team continues having the same leader, it's a problem. When you have won your World Cup, you should, I'm ready to retire. Let the next generation take over.
Correct.
And this is a problem with a lot of business communities. You spoke about, the communities like Gujarati, Kutchi, Marwadi, which are prominent business communities.
Correct.
They actually understand that my time khatam ho gaya. Let my son take over, the next person takes over. Because leadership is not about you. It's about creating a legacy after you.
Wow.
And you cannot just leave the chair and say, mera kaam ho gaya. You have to create the next leader. And that's why if you study across the world, the leader may be gone, but the company should become bigger with the next leader.
Wow, that is what we see in different multinational companies.
Absolutely. Take the very famous example of Apple. Steve Jobs,
Correct.
he created Apple as a brand.
Yes.
But then Tim Cook took it to the next level.
Correct, very true.
Many people may not know this also. Do you know he's retiring now?
Tim.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had a bigger challenge because you have a brand.
Correct.
And a legacy like Steve Jobs.
Correct.
He performed very well. Today
Yes.
everybody talks about Apple.
Yes.
But now say apna time ho gaya. It's a very famous song in Hindi. Apna time aayega. But many leaders forget that apna time jayega.
Oh.
So now they are actually planning who's going to be the next head of Apple. And the current leader has to be ready. So Ratan Tata was a great leader, but he created a legacy.
Right.
Chandrasekhar is there.
Yes.
After 20 years, somebody else will come.
Correct.
So 3 stages of leadership. Before you become a leader, get the training of a leader. After you become a leader, have a coach who will guide you in leadership. And finally, how to exit leadership by creating more leaders.
Wow. Creation of more leaders is something which is very important, and definitely our nation requires that more and more leaders, they can create a different legacy altogether. And as you rightly mentioned, right, the advisors, they play a very important role. For example, in our political standpoint, so our, the person who is sitting on the chair of the prime minister, he has lots and lots of advisors from the different background, different field. As a chief economic advisor, the health advisor, and different advisor. So having an advisor, it will create your life very easy, very smooth also. And Chanakya, very famous dialogue of Chanakya and very widely circulated among the social media is that शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता, प्रलय और निर्माण दोनों उसकी गोद में खिलते हैं. That is very prominent and very profound statement. Sir, how do you look at that statement?
See, if you translate that into English, शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता. Teacher is not ordinary.
Correct.
Actually, he can make an ordinary student extraordinary.
Wow.
So, very ordinary person, Chandragupta became an emperor because of the teacher.
Right.
प्रलय और निर्माण दोनों उसकी गोद में खिलते. In fact, I'm a teacher, you are a teacher. The destruction of India is because of teachers. We find so much corruption here. People are leaving this country.
Correct.
Nothing wrong to leave this country. Go abroad, take the best education, but you don't come back. Because the general corruption, there is no talent appreciation.
Correct.
Same person who will get 100x appreciation or money here, just go to US. He'll get maybe 5,000x.
Correct. Very true.
So you feel, why is India not that great? Then I started thinking, because we teachers have only become professionals who teach in universities and take lectures and conduct exams.
Correct.
If teachers can inspire students in the classroom to work for the nation and remove corruption. In fact, I'll tell you one thing interesting. I was in Bihar just 2 days ago.
Okay.
I was in a place called Darbhanga, which is very close to Patna.
Correct.
Darbhanga is the place from where Janak Maharaj came from.
Wow.
Mithila.
Yes, Mithila.
Sita was from there.
Correct.
And if you look at the title given to Janak Maharaj, Raja-Rishi.
Raja-Rishi.
Bhagavad Gita also talks about it.
Correct.
You will be surprised. You know what I did? There are a lot of youth who were there. They are organizing my talks and all those things. I actually fired them. Said, क्या बिहार का हालत करके रखे हो? Today, if you look at Bihar, it's a glorious past. Buddha came from Bihar.
Correct.
Chanakya came from Bihar.
Yes.
Raja Janak came from Bihar.
Wow. Yes.
Think about Mahavir. Came from Bihar. But Bihar, if you go and look at what is the impression, then I say, as a teacher, I'm telling you are responsible. So you have to work on the basics. You can't be just, glorifying the past. हमारे पास चाणक्य था. So the idea is that teachers have the responsibility when they're taking classes. In every classroom, they can inspire patriotism. And patriotism is not just chanting the national anthem or celebrating Republic Day and Independence Day once in a year. It's a feeling teachers can inspire. So I think it's so important to know that teachers have to inspire a generation. So Pralay, if the nation has got distracted because teachers allowed corruption in the system.
Wow.
It's a very bold statement, Jay. So teachers allowed, why can't you come down and say, we'll stop corruption?
Wow. Right.
And Nirman, teachers are the hope also.
Create a new thing.
And again, going back to the Chanakya statement, दो लोगों के जिंदगी में, two people are not supposed to be taking things lightly.
Okay.
आराम नहीं कर सकते. एक है शिक्षक,
okay,
और दूसरा है शासक.
Wow.
So the king, the leader, has to be working very hard, and he cannot rest. Of course, he can sleep for some time, but Arthashastra only gives little rest. In the same way, teachers cannot say, I got my salary, 7th pay commission, 8th pay commission. And to be very okay, you require money, but is that all? Take some lectures, take some exams. What about nation building? So if a businessman is building a nation through wealth creation, if a soldier is protecting the nation on the borders,
correct,
what are teachers doing?
Wow.
They have to teach inspiration, inspire people. And there's a very popular saying about a teacher. The impact of a teacher can reach infinity. You never know, in a classroom when a teacher inspires, he can create the future of a country and the world.
Very true.
So I think teachers should look at responsibility they have and an opportunity to build the next generation.
So how time management is very important, that is number one. And secondly, the role of the social media. They are playing the kind of role in students' life.
Correct.
And affecting negatively and positively both.
Right.
How do you look at things, the time management and the social media?
Very interesting question. Let me answer time management first. See, everybody has got only 24 hours.
Correct. Right.
The president of a nation, the prime minister, to a common man. But the question is that how do you use that time? Time management is a topic by itself that Chanakya dealt with.
Right.
We're not going to talk in detail, but I'm saying is that time management in India has got different dimensions. It's not just the watch.
Right.
1 ghanta ho gaya. Of course, that's also time. We have words in Sanskrit like samay,
correct,
kal,
okay,
yuga. So you look at all these words. So for us, time management starts with thinking.
Right. Okay.
And it's also a personality. What one person can do in 1 hour, other person may require 5 hours.
True. Very true.
So it's also personality driven. But if you want to be a leader, you should understand time. And you should be very, very clear that you cannot waste time.
Right.
Because as you go higher and higher, time becomes very sensitive issue. And if you can manage time, in fact, there's another dimension called space management.
Okay, what is that?
People don't know about that. Chanakya spoke about it. For example, what is space? It is not just what you see, it's also mind space. Leaders actually have a lot of thoughts. But can you sit down and meditate for 5 minutes? Take some deep breaths. You'll become a better time manager. Wow. Your mental space to think better is also time management.
Wow.
It's a lot of facts. Now coming back to social media. Please use social media. You're watching this on that only. I'm a big fan of social media.
Right.
But I use social media, WhatsApp, But the question is that social media can be a double-edged sword.
Right. Correct.
It can make you or it can break you.
Hmm.
So use social media, but don't get distracted or dejected by social media. Don't get addicted to social media.
Yes.
So how do you do that? I'll tell you. So I use WhatsApp and this. Every single message of mine is replied. Every single. Not a single one
Wow.
goes unreplied. But that doesn't mean I'm addicted. When I decide, chalo, then में 2 घंटा social media करना, nothing wrong.
Correct.
And by the way, I'm on all platforms.
Hmm.
Be it Twitter, be it YouTube, be it Instagram. If there is anything new, I'll be the first to adapt. But I don't get addicted. I have a team. So you know them, the Riya,
Correct.
then Meena, then Mansi. You are there.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of plus. So when you become limited by your time, use others' time. You're also helping me in my classes. And all this. So time management also becomes after a point team management. And Mukesh Ambani who said cannot manage the whole Reliance himself.
Right.
It requires people who are better time managers.
True.
Compared to social media, use your time wisely in social media. Otherwise, the addiction, you never know, you started scrolling.
Correct.
Scrolling.
Right.
So I watch movies, but I know, okay, one movie a day is good. Otherwise, the one movie, second movie, and there'll be trailers inbuilt.
Correct.
There'll be hacks, there'll be a lot of things. So what I'm saying is that, you have to be alert that nobody should fool you. So in social media, people want your attention. And when I'm focused on social media, 100% attention. But at the same time, don't take it so much for granted that take away all your attention.
Right.
And that can actually become a mental health problem.
Yeah, many people, at the very young age, they are, started facing this kind of problems.
So we have a simple rule in our family. Not only me, including my wife and children. We say, okay, every day you have to do everything. So get up in the morning, you have to get ready, you have to eat food, go to school, come back, I have to go to office and all this.
Correct.
But you know what? We also have a social media time in our house.
Interesting.
Everybody has to be on social media. In fact, we have WhatsApp group. It's called the Chatur family.
Oh, wow.
So everybody will sit down and we actually pass on information to each other. And I'm so happy because we use social media. At the same time, we say, okay, that's family time. When it's family time, don't use social media.
Wow.
When you're using social media, respect the other guy.
Correct.
So if my children are using social media, I say, please use. I will not disturb you. Sit in that corner, make sure the Wi-Fi is working. But after 1 hour, come. Let's have food together. So I think it's a matter of self-discipline also.
Right.
And let me tell you, if you're not on social media, you're not updated. You don't know what's happening.
Correct.
What comes in tomorrow's newspaper actually comes on social media today.
Wow. Yes.
So
real time. Yeah.
So if there is some bombing happening in Israel, you can know it today, not tomorrow.
Yes.
So I think we should respect social media. I respect social media, but don't get addicted to social media.
Wow. So, sir, finally, since we are coming to an end, what major advice you as a Radhakrishnan Pillai and you as a Chanakya's author can give to our next generation and our students from the Arthashastra perspective?
So one is Arthashastra perspective, have mentors in your life.
Wow, that is number one, having a mentor in your life.
And my personal advice, keep smiling. Don't take life too seriously. I look at the young generation, we look at their faces. I know what's happening. Why are you so tense, dear? Pata nahi kya hoga. Jo hoga, hoga. So I think it's a generation where we are speaking also, Jay sir. We don't have roti, kapda, makan problem.
Correct.
Imagine our parents, grandparents did not have food to eat.
Right.
But still they were happy. So we are so much, we are living in a world of abundance. But people are unhappy. They don't know how to enjoy life and they think going to party is enjoyment. I'm not saying they should not go to party, but what is happiness? Just smile at yourself. Just go and do something.
Wow.
So I find have a purpose in life.
Wow.
A purpose can inspire. And one of the purpose of your life is to be happy. Please watch a lot of comedy movies. And this whole, in fact, the more you are happy, the more you are productive. A happy person is more productive and every productive person may not be happy. So don't get in that, this rut of, don't become workaholic. Because people think, ज़्यादा काम करने से ज़्यादा पैसा मिलेगा, ज़्यादा पैसा मिलने से ज़्यादा खुशियाँ मिलेंगी. कुछ नहीं, खुश रहो, ज़्यादा काम अच्छा होगा और बहुत पैसे भी कमाओगे.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, sir. On behalf of NM College of Commerce and Economics, I would like to thank you for coming to our podcast and spreading the wisdom to our students and to the teachers as well. Because in today's discussion, there are so many takeaways for the teachers, for the student, for the entrepreneurs. If any student wants to become to start their own startup, everything we try to cover from the leadership strategy and Anvikshiki perspective. So thank you so much, sir, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Jay sir. It was an inspirational podcast for me also.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.